Good afternoon. I am the mother of a 10-year-old son with autism, and I work for the Flemish Parents and Family Association. Recently, we also meet a lot of adults with autism in our organization, sometimes in their parent role, sometimes not. Sharing of experiences is an important way to empower family members and persons with ASD. Their testimonials are often used to increase awareness in our society. We all know the importance of work for quality of life. Through work, people create a social network. It has effect on self-esteem, creates routines in daily life. It makes us feel useful and appreciated, creates a sense of belonging. Enough reasons to have a closer look at adults with autism. Little information is available about adults with ASD at work. Furthermore, the little existing information seemed not to match with the experiences of adults with autism we met on various occasions. The personal experiences of adults with ASD can be very helpful for employers, employment specialists, educators, families, and individuals with ASD. Our method was an online questionnaire, and it was developed and completed by adults with ASD and their parents. The questionnaire was online in March 2009. A wide range of multiple choice and open questions gave us a wide inventory of personal experiences. The questions were related to the following fields: personal facts like age and gender, diagnosis, education, finding and keeping a job, job satisfaction, and finally also 21 statements. Our results. We had 244 respondents, of which 164 were adults with ASD. 80 parents or partners of people with ASD were our respondents. We see that the respondents only represent a small fragment of the autism spectrum. We see the high-functioning ASD adults. What do we know about them? Well, the most questionnaires are completed by or for young adults with ASD in the age range 25 till 34. More females were included in our research than we would expect on the current gender ratio within the spectrum. As we often meet adults with ASD in their parent role, it's not always clear for us whether they have a formal diagnosis or not. Questionnaires of persons without a formal diagnosis were, however, included in our analysis. We, however, see that most adults included in our research were diagnosed with ASD. About statements. A part of our questionnaire existed of 21 statements on which the respondents had to choose between 5 possible answers, varying from strongly agree to strongly disagree. They could clarify their answers in open questions. The answers on the different statements were very diverse. This was also the case in the motivation people gave for their choices. I will illustrate this to you with 3 statements and some of the given motivations. The first was, adults with ASD prefer to do lifelong the same job. Somebody answered, no 2 adults with ASD are the same. Another, routine gives security. Another said, some do, others don't. I would not be motivated and would find it stultifying if I had to do the same work over and over again. I would love to keep on doing the same kind of job. I change jobs regularly, but I like my job to be well structured. That gives me more security. A second statement was, if the job is adapted to the person with ASD, his results will be as good as his colleagues. Somebody said, well, he will be loyal, punctual, attention to detail. Of course, another said, maybe even better than his colleagues because he is thorough and does a very good job. Another said, that's what my boss always says. Another said, he is as valuable as any other employee, only he will need more time to reach the same level. Another statement was, persons with ASD can't do a social job. Somebody said, I'm an ambulance driver. Another said, yes, they can, but they will do it differently. Another said, it depends on the level of empathy. Mine only works half, but I know other autistic people with 100% empathy. Another said, I tried it and I was a disaster. Another, I can imagine a doctor with ASD functioning perfectly well. So you can see it was quite diverse. We were also very interested in knowing who helped people with ASD finding a job. The organizations mentioned on the slide are specific for Flanders, so I will not discuss the figures in detail, but the graphs show us that 1/3 of our population did it all by themselves. They said, nobody helped me. Another group were the personal social network, including parents, partners, and friends, were asked for help in the search of a job. General services, such as a school and a public employment service, and specific services were less consulted. Only 10 to 12% mentioned autism or aspects of it in their application letter or CV. The reasons they gave, if they did tell, were, yes, you should tell your employer. An employer should know who you are. It's not a show. No party will later be disappointed. Honesty is important. I'm looking for an open-minded employer because they have the right to know me and it's better for me. The reasons not to tell were, I didn't have a diagnosis yet. It diminishes my chances. That would be prejudiced and that's not okay. I think it would reduce my chances to be hired and I don't know how to tell them. During the job interview, about 25% mentions autism or aspects of it. The face-to-face contact makes it easier to mention autism and to discuss the positive and negative consequences for the job. Apart from mentioning autism or not, there are various aspects that make a job interview difficult for adults with ASD. 25 to 50% had difficulties understanding the questions, making eye contact, knowing what to tell or not, speed of the conversation. In addition, they mentioned other aspects such as I cannot deduce what impression I make, why certain questions are asked. I have difficulties with required lying. Everything is difficult in a conversation with strangers, concentration, topics to avoid, a past in psychiatry and salary. The company information that I received is sometimes so abstract and I don't dare to ask any additional questions. We were also very curious whether the respondents had work at the moment and whether they got paid for it. We found out that most of our population had paid work. The first bar shows that group. The last bar depicts the group with no paid work. Reasons herefore were retirement, unemployment, incapacity for work. The bar in the middle includes adults who did unpaid work, independently of having or not having a paid job. For instance, adults working as volunteers, going to a day center, or in an unpaid training. Most adults included in our research had 1 to 3 employers. However, we saw a strong variation with one person having 35 employers in a 20-year career. Comments on this issue were, I am self-employed since 10 years. Off and on, unemployed and working. I work in the same place already for 18 years. About the jobs. As you can see on the slide, there was a wide variety of jobs in our population. An assistant handyman in a school, somebody working in a sheltered workshop, an artist, a researcher at the university, somebody working in elder care, a teacher, a baker, a soldier, a nanny, and many more. We were also very curious about job satisfaction. We had 25 questions about that. topic. So, in general, our population reported a high level of job satisfaction. For instance, I'm proud of my job. Most people answered always, and very little people answered never. But when we asked whether enough attention is paid to their autism, the largest group answers never. We think this is mainly because the respondents didn't have a formal diagnosis when they started working and did not mention autism or aspects of it at work. The last question about job satisfaction is, I'm able to do the work where I can use my talents. Most adults included in our research answered almost always and always. Conclusions. As with neurotypical developing adults, work experiences of adults are very various. The majority of adults with ASD doesn't mention ASD during job interview. Although most adults included in our research are high functioning, they do express the need for extra support and guidance in finding and keeping a job. For the future, we think it's very important that testimonials can be done. Testimonials have a very positive influence on public opinion and can empower people with ASD. The results of our questionnaire can be used as a framework for testimonials. Thank you for your attention.